Colder weather and shorter days always have people feeling sluggish, but if you're also dealing with symptoms of depression, you could be experiencing seasonal affective disorder, which is depression that occurs in a seasonal pattern. In today's Health Matters, we take a look at the symptoms of SAD and why light therapy should be done under the guidance of a professional. It's not unusual to want to hibernate during the winter months, but if you feel more down than usual year after year during the same season, you could have seasonal affective disorder.
Sleep disturbance, change in appetite, fatigue, even if you're getting enough sleep, change in ability to concentrate, feeling worse about yourself.
Dr. Andrea Taylor, a licensed clinical psychologist with UT Physicians, says it's even possible for people to experience seasonal affective disorder during the summer or spring months. There's no definitive understanding of what causes SAD, but since less daylight can lead to biochemical imbalances in the brain, light therapy is often used. Bright light boxes or lamps that produce UV filtered light. But Dr. Taylor warns they should be used under the guidance of a professional.
And there's certain people who are sensitive to light, and it could be that they have a particular whether it's a skin condition that they're sensitive to. And for some people, it could actually trigger a manic episode. So I don't want people to just run out and buy a light. They're very specific lights. These are light boxes that they're about 20 times brighter than the ordinary indoor light.
And while the pandemic itself won't specifically lead to an increase in seasonal affective disorder, Dr. Taylor says the